Okay. Hi, everybody. I notice I'm a little bit out of focus. Sorry about that. I'm just using this new software and I'm looking to make sure everybody can hear me. Can everybody hear me? Hi, A. Heineman. I'm sorry, guys, that I just made myself blurry. I apologize for that. I'm trying to make myself. I'm watching. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm fixing that now. I'm on a delay. I was looking at the wrong screen. Sorry. We should be improving now. Okay, so we have 12 people watching now. And I'm sorry if I'm still a little blurry. I'm looking at the screen, but I'm on a slight delay. On my software, I don't look blurry, but on YouTube, I do. So we'll have to figure that out another time. Happy Saturday, everybody. I thought I would hop on here really quickly because uh, we have a show that just debuted, a special show that I've been working on for a while now that I put together. And a really great guy who I've covered the Idaho case with, Christian Danick. We traveled to Idaho twice together, and it was super cold, but I couldn't have asked for a better person to go to Idaho with earlier this year, and then last year, of course, when this awful murder happened. These murders happened, 4 murders. We He edited it. He did a lot of it. We worked together on this, and he's just really great. And we did a show. I was asked to do this, and we really wanted to kind of look at where everything stood. This is a case where I feel like it really ripped the hearts out of everybody involved. Whether it was the family members, the friends of the people who were killed. People who are 20 and 21 years old are not supposed to go to bed in their houses in college and be murdered. It's absolute insanity. It's terrifying as a parent. You send your kids to college and you think, oh gosh, maybe they're going to go to a frat party and get too drunk or something like that. It is really one of the worst. I mean, I've covered so many awful things. This is really one of the worst things. And, these kids are, Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle. They should be here. They're just kids in college. And it's upsetting. So it was terrifying. I think for the community, talking to the people out there when Christian and I were out there. So we put this together to kind of look back at what happened, where are we now? Now that today marks 1 year since Bryan Kohberger was arrested. I remember very clearly we were hearing rumblings that something was going to happen. We didn't know when. Of course, Moscow police would not tell us anything, not one word. But we were kind of hearing rumblings that something had changed. So this was a case that I think just captivated people's attention around the world. And there's so much we still don't know about it. So I interviewed a lot of people, whether, there were former FBI agents, forensic experts. I interviewed an attorney in Idaho. I interviewed Cindy Hollenbeck, who's a mom who lived in Pullman, who is the mother of college-age children. I interviewed a lot of people about this case, and we kind of just looked at it and are just looking at where things stand and trying to set the record straight on a lot of things too, because I feel like there is just so much misinformation out there and so much speculation. And this story was such a big deal that I think a lot of people see something and they think, oh, that could be a story, and they write a story about it, and there may be pressure to write a story about it, and then I look into it and I find sometimes it's not always right. So I wanted to just, do something that was, first of all, very, that was accurate, that was solid, that was not sensational, but just looked at everything that kind of happened and where we are with the case and where we're going moving forward. So I'm going to put that link in the chat right now. I'm going to look at your comments too. Hi, Law and Crime. Law and Crime's in the chat. Oh my God, I'm nervous. I'm nervous. Let me put the link to the show in. I interviewed a lot of really cool people for this, people I really respect. And, I wanted to do it. I wanted to talk to people who are really solid. There's another thing about this too that I wanted to talk about. And that's the fact that I've never seen a case where I think it's admirable how so many people wanted to dive in and help and try to help solve it, because when we were out there it was last December 5th, Christian and I flew out there. And, they had nothing. The cops had nothing. I mean, they may have had a few things here and there, but as far as the public knew, they had nothing. We knew they were going to shops and asking about a K-bar knife. We didn't know why they were asking that. Now we know they were asking that because there was a sheath left behind. But there was so much craziness with this case and people being labeled suspects who were not suspects. And I'll tell you what, it was really scary. I mean, it was really scary. I think there were so many people who were really freaked out. I mean, it was a scary time. Like, people didn't know if there was a killer walking around, like, right next to them. It was crazy. And something I wanted to talk about also, I'm going to drop the link to this in here. Here's the link to the show. So I just dropped the link to the show in there from Law and Crime. I wanted to talk about this whole thing about the demolition of the house. Like, how did everybody feel? And I feel like maybe I should do a poll or something. How did everybody feel about the house being demolished this week? The King Road house. Because I feel like there might be some misunderstanding and misinformation about that. One thing that I know, the family, the Gonsalves family in particular, they were very vocal about not wanting the house demolished. The Kernodles apparently did not want it demolished either, and I totally understand that. I did a story back in late June about how the families were concerned about the house being razed prior to trial, because, you never know. Maybe the jury wants to go to the scene, or, maybe they decide to go to the scene, or maybe there are items in the house that hold evidentiary value, potentially hold evidentiary value. You never know what could come up. And we don't really know what other evidence they have aside from what's in the probable cause affidavit. We really don't. We know about the DNA on the knife sheath, and we know about, the cell phone stuff. Cell phone stuff, I need to know a little bit more about that. I feel like I also need to know more about this sheath, the DNA on the sheath, like more about the quantity and things of that nature. But there's just so much we really still don't know about what other evidence they collected from that house, and if there is other DNA. For instance, we know that Xana fought back very hard, is my understanding. So there could be other DNA that we don't know about from the killer. Bryan Kohberger, of course, stood silent. So, and he's saying he hopes to be exonerated. We also included some stuff in this show from Jason LaBar, who was his public defender for like 4 days in Pennsylvania. So I had interviewed him a while back. So the thing about the house, let me talk to you about the house. So when they went through the house, they found asbestos in the house. So we knew that over the summer. There's asbestos in the house, which, they would have to remove that before they would demolish the house. The university doesn't want the house standing there because they said it's a reminder of what happened. It's a horrible thing that happened. And it's a reminder to the students who are walking past it every day. And sadly, people are driving by it. I think it creates kind of a traffic jam in the neighborhood. A lot of gawkers coming by. They're having to have somebody there 24 hours a day, security, to guard the house so people don't end up going inside. So you've got the asbestos issue, you've got the gawker issue, you've got the paying somebody to guard it 24 hours a day issue. You've got the prosecution and the defense both saying, we don't need the house, we're not going to take the jury there. There was an email that Bill Thompson, the prosecutor, sent to the university on the 22nd. I tweeted that out the other day. And he said, we don't anticipate needing the house anymore. We know they've done all kinds of scans and things like that where they can create 3D images. Cases are tried all the time without juries going to a crime scene. Now, I think juries going to crime scenes happens more than some commentators would like to think. I've seen some commentators saying, oh, that never happens. It happened in OJ. Like, it doesn't happen that much. That's not true. I mean, I've covered many trials where they take the jury to the scene. There were other people who were saying, oh, well, it would be really weird then if they took Bryan Kohberger. He's a defendant. He has a right to be there. So if they took the jury to the house, that would be really weird because then he'd be there and the defense wouldn't want that. Well, you know what? He doesn't have to go if they did a jury view. He can waive his appearance. In the Pike County case that I covered, George Wagner IV, there was a 2-day jury view because there were 4 crime scenes. Plus, they took the jury to the Wagner's house. George Wagner IV waived his right to go on the jury view. He stayed at the courthouse with the guards who were guarding him, so he didn't have to go. So a lot of these things I'm seeing in the news, I think, are just like people saying stuff. Like there's no rule. Like I'm sure Ann Taylor, let's say they did a jury view. Ann Taylor would probably say, you know what, we think Bryan, he can waive his right to, we don't need him going. But they said the house was basically a mess. It had been gutted. There had been some asbestos remediation. It didn't look the same. So taking the jury there wouldn't be necessary. And the university wanted the house gone. The Kernodle and Gonsalves families obviously were very opposed to this. They are very worried that this could impact the case negatively. And I can understand that completely. They want to see justice done. And so I understand their point of view completely. I couldn't imagine being in their shoes. So those are just my thoughts on that issue. Oh, you're saying my volume is low? Let me adjust. Let me see if I can adjust. Is this better? I just upped the volume a little bit on my mic. Hopefully that is better. Louise, is that better? Right. Yeah, so the defendant can waive. Yeah, so jury views aren't necessarily necessary, but, they may feel like, the prosecution may feel like they have enough evidence that they don't need to do this. They may feel like they don't need a jury view, like it's not necessary, but I will tell you, it's a weird house. It's a really weird house, and I saw from the Gonsalves family, they were saying things in their statement like, what could Dylan hear from here? Or what could she hear from there? And I try not to use the surviving roommates' names. I'm sorry about that because they've been harassed so much. It's absurd. But that the surviving roommates will testify about what they could hear from certain vantage points or heard and saw and things of that nature. I have several videos. I feel like maybe I should put something together and throw it up here on YouTube. And I can show you like the different vantage points from like the back of the house. Like you could literally sit up in this parking area at the back of the house and see right into that house. It's crazy. Okay, so Enduring Valor is asking, considering Judge found merit in Jay Logston's argument a few months ago, would it be likely for him to reject the interlocutory motion? Are you talking about the standard of proof issue that he brought up, or the biased grand jury stuff? Because there were two different things. Like he said it was creative. I didn't think he said it was there had been some merit, and he said he should appeal it, or that was an issue for the appellate court, and he called it creative. But he said, I was predicting that wasn't going to fly when he was saying, oh, the Idaho Constitution says this is the standard of proof, but every court in the land and every court in Idaho says the standard of proof for an indictment is probable cause. So I don't know. I don't think that's going anywhere. I think they're trying to buy time. Also, another thing, guys, I think it's unlikely that this trial is going to happen in Moscow, Idaho. Just my opinion. I'm going to look up the Latah County population really fast. Latah County. The population of Latah County is 37,432. So that would likely be, those are full-time residents. So that's your jury pool for this case. Is it possible they could try the case there? Yes. Do I think that it's possible that the defense asks for a change of venue? Yes, I think it's very possible. And we are really so not we are so far away from trial, in my opinion. There have really not been any substantive motions filed, or we've not seen any death penalty motions filed, that's for sure. So we are so far away, in my opinion, from this case going to trial. I just don't see it happening till 2025, despite the defense or the state saying, oh, we want a trial date in June or July, summer of 2024, and we want to have it in Latah County in Moscow, and we want to have it in the summer because the university is out of school, and so is Moscow High School. Class is not in session. I seriously just don't see it happening. I really don't. I really, really don't. I think it's just really unlikely. So another thing we wanted to do with this show, at least I wanted to do, I feel like these victims have gotten lost in all of this, so I really wanted to focus on them while telling the story and telling what we know about Bryan Kohberger, the person charged in this. But I feel like they've really gotten lost in all of this, and that happens in these cases. But I wanted to really feature things that talked about them as well, because I think it's incredibly sad. Yeah, so Enduring Valor, I see what you're saying. So, they can go appeal it if they want. But I don't think that the judge is no way. Correct. The population of Latah County is actually, I think there are fewer people in Pike County, Ohio than Latah County. Moscow, I think you're right, though, A. Heineman. Moscow's population may be similar to Pike County. Yeah, you're right about that, because Pike County was like 27,000. Right. I see what you're saying, Enduring Valor. I am reading your quotes right now. from Judge. I just don't think it's going anywhere, though. That's the thing. Also, there's going to be a motion hearing on the 26th. I got a notification today, 26th of January. I'd like to know what that is going to be for. It may be for this motion they filed about the, and I was actually going to look this up really quickly. So let me do that. Because I looked on Friday and nothing new had been filed. So I'm looking that up. There's a lot of paper in this case. Okay, so they did. Okay, so here it is. Order setting hearings on defendant's motion to reconsider. So that is what it's going to be about. And of course it's sealed. Oh, Lord. Okay, so let me put this in here in the chat. Yeah, no, Heineman, I understand what you're saying completely, but I also think we should keep in mind with the Pike County case, George's trial was held in 2022 and the murders happened in 2016. So it was like 6 years later. In Ohio, it's a little different. I think in Ohio, they're a little less likely to grant a change of venue. In Ohio, really, the way they do it is they have to try to seat the jury first. And if they can't find a fair and impartial jury, then they consider moving it. In Idaho, you saw this in the Daybell case, the Lori Vallow Daybell case, and Chad Daybell, of course. They just up and moved it from Fremont County to Ada County, which is in the Boise area. So that's happened. So in Idaho, I feel like they might do it a little differently. So we'll see. We'll see if the defense files for a change of venue and if Judge grants it. They've got this gag order. They file everything under seal, but it doesn't stop news stories. It's just there haven't really been any leaks of information that have come out. And everything that is put it on the website that's filed, like whether it's subpoenas or for records or anything like that, it's always redacted. Like whoever, if they're looking for somebody's Amazon records or what have you, it doesn't ever say who the records belong to. You can make the leap and you can say, oh, I think it's Bryan Kohberger's Amazon account. It doesn't say that. So you don't know. You don't know if it's his account or not. Do I think Alec Murdaugh will get a new trial? Joe Warble is asking. I don't know. I think that the hearing will tell us a lot. The hearing is set for January 29th, February 1st, January, it's 3 days. It's 3 days, January 29th, January 30th. And then, are there 31 days in January? I think so. Yeah, there are 31 days in January. So it'll be January 29th through January 31st. It's a 3-day evidentiary hearing. I'm assuming the jurors, some of them may be called to testify. Miss Becky, I'm sure, will most certainly be called to testify. But guess what? I don't think Miss Becky's going to testify. I think she's going to plead the fifth. I think there's been some information that's come to light that has really hurt Miss Becky's credibility. For instance, the plagiarism, the fact that she plagiarized part of her book. She stole and admitted to it. She admitted to stealing part of a BBC reporter's article and using it in her book. So she's got no credibility. Oh, hi, Angel with an A from Australia. That's amazing. I love it when people tune in from other countries. So here's the order scheduling the hearing for the 26th. I'm going to put the link in here, guys. So you can read that. The defendant's motion to reconsider orders, denying motions to dismiss indictment, and in the alternative for permission to appeal from interlocutory orders and to stay of proceedings will be heard. Stay of proceedings will be heard on January 26, 2024. So they're asking the judge to reconsider. He is not going to change his mind. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's my prediction. So in the alternative, they're saying we need to appeal. And so they're going to do that. And in order to do that, they're going to ask them to stay proceedings. So what does that mean? The clock stops if the judge grants that. So they're going to, if the judge is not going to change his mind. He's already made clear what his decision was. He put it in writing just a little bit ago, like 2 weeks ago. Then they're going to go to the appeals court. The judge may decide to stay the proceedings. That's going to buy them some time. That for whatever reason, and I wish we could see what was in these motions about the grand jury testimony. First of all, the defense in this case is furious that they didn't get the preliminary hearing. They wanted that opportunity, in my opinion, to go in there and question the state's witnesses under oath, because it's a great way for them to see how these people will perform on the stand. It's a great way for them to get information that they might not otherwise get, because you never know what somebody's going to say when they're on the witness stand. So I think that's great that they're really fighting for their client, but I just don't think this is going to happen unless there's some bombshell information in these motions where they're saying, I need you to go to, or I need you to send this back for preliminary hearing. Toss out this indictment. The grand jury was biased. And also, we need a preliminary hearing. So send it back for a preliminary hearing. Unless there's some bombshell information in there, I don't think it's happening. I mean, we already know Judge denied these things. I mean, it is what it is. All right, let me look at your chat, guys. Will I be at Billy Wagner's trial? I hope so, at least for some of it. That should be pretty interesting. Billy Wagner has really good lawyers. Mark Collins is a really good lawyer, and Caitlin Stevens is a good lawyer too. And if Billy Wagner took the stand, that'd be really interesting. I'm just scrolling through to see if I missed any of your questions. And sorry, guys, I'm like trying to keep track of your comments and then look up this information as well. So sorry if I am jumping around a little bit. And I still look blurry. I'm going to have to figure that out. I don't look blurry on the software. Oh yeah, maybe I do a little bit. Is that better? Okay, so does anybody have any questions before I hop off here? I mean, I would love to stay on here longer with you, but I just wanted to hop on and talk. No, I'm not as blurry. Sorry about that, guys. You know, it's just so interesting to me that, you know, a year ago, I remember this very clearly. I wanted to show you this really quickly. I was off work. I was on vacation, using vacation time or what have you, but also kind of monitoring, waiting to see if something was going to happen with this case, because we had kind of heard, we were hearing that something had changed, but nobody, that was all we could get. Something was coming. We just, that was all we could get. And I remember it was like Friday morning, and I got it confirmed that an arrest had been made, and this is the picture I was sent. Literally, this is the picture someone sent to me. And it was from the Washington State University website. And I'm like, what? Who's this guy? It's literally what I thought. Like, who is this? Some guy from Washington State University. Now, he obviously is saying he's innocent and that he'll be exonerated. This is Bryan Kohberger's statement through his former lawyer. But we'll see, right? We'll see what happens. But it's really a sad case and no reason for it. Okay, guys, I'm going to post that link again. I hope you'll watch our show. Sorry, I'm trying to do all this pasting and stuff. But I'd love to hop on here with you some other time. So from Scotland. Oh, cool. Blue Nose Bear from Scotland. What is the next big trial coming up? So as far as I know, have you guys been, this Young Thug RICO trial is going on in Atlanta. So that's starting back up. It had already started, but then Shannon Stillwell, one of the defendants, was shanked in the jail. Good God. So that's horrible. He was stabbed in the jail, and they had to delay the trial until after the first of the year. So that starts back up next week. So that's a big trial coming up. We've got the Murdoch evidentiary hearing on January 29th. So I'm sure we've got a lot of big things coming up. Carrie Lama asks, Anjanette, are the rules the same for Billy Wagner's trial? No one has to be recorded, including people already in jail. Okay, so here's the deal. This is how this works in Ohio. And this was a source of frustration during George's trial. In Ohio, there's a rule that says that witnesses can opt out of being videotaped. So they don't have to appear on camera if they don't want to. And so typically the judge will ask the witness when they take the stand, or the judge's bailiff or staff will ask the witness before they take the stand. And in most trials I've covered in Ohio, because I've worked in Ohio for 10 years, the judge will still allow the audio to be put out there. Well, not in George's trial. And the thing that was really frustrating about it is that he allowed these witnesses to opt out of video and audio. But the thing that was most frustrating was the fact that he allowed Angela and Jake Wagner, two people who admitted to taking part in the planning and carrying out of the slaughter of 8 people, which is disgusting. He allowed them to opt out. And we all thought that was insanity. I think a lot of people thought that was insanity. And so we challenged that as members of the media. I think the judge misread. I think he interpreted it incorrectly. That rule was not meant for people who pleaded guilty. It's insane. So I don't know if that will be the same. I'm really hoping this new judge will take a look at that and say, you know, they might be witnesses, but they're also confessed murderers. So I don't think Angela and Jake have any right to do that. I think it's nuts. Oh, yes, Donna Adelson. That's right. Donna will be back in court. Yes. It's for a status hearing, though. We hear she's trying to hire local counsel in Tallahassee. We'll see what happens with that. All right, guys, here's the link to the show we put together. Let me know what you think. I hope you watch. And I'll hop back on here another time. Sorry if the audio was not great for some of you. I'll try to check on that. And let's do this again sometime. Just looking to see if I missed any questions. No, I think that's it. I think I got all your questions. Well, everybody, thanks for coming on and watching. I'll try to give you more of a heads up next time, and we'll I'll have a little bit better of an itinerary too. But I'd like to have somebody come on with me too. I always liked having somebody to talk to. All right, take care, everybody. Happy New Year, and maybe I'll get crazy and hop on here tomorrow. Maybe not, but we'll see. All right, take care. Bye-bye.